Esteemed members of the panel, judges, AIOS delegates, good morning to one and all. I'm Dr. Chaitanya and I shall be presenting my paper titled Randott Stereoacuity in Patients with Glaucoma, a Cross-Sectional Study. The authors have no financial disclosures to declare. There are no conflicts of interest. Glaucoma is a condition which presents us with a peculiar predicament. It is the leading cause of irreversible visual loss. Majority of cases are asymptomatic until late stage, and in 2020, estimated global burden is around 80 million cases, and the prevalence in India estimated to be 20 million cases. Glaucoma involves loss of retinal ganglion cells, whose axons constitute the anterior optic pathway. 90% of the optic nerve fibers that arise from the retinal ganglion cells project into the lateral geniculate nucleus of the thalamus. Experimental studies have also shown that glaucomatous injuries can be seen at the level of lateral geniculate nucleus and visual cortex. With standard perimetric techniques, 25 to 35% of RGCs may be lost in an eye by the time reproducible early visual field defects are found. And because of that, the search for suitable, convenient tests to detect early glaucoma continues. The prerequisites for binocular integration are formation of similar good quality images on each retina, as well as the sensory fusion of the images and precise motor coordination of the eyes. Glaucoma is associated with dysfunctions and loss of RGCs and can affect one eye or both eyes symmetrically or asymmetrically, leading to progressive disruption of the optic pathway, which hampers sensory integration of monocular visual stimuli at the level of binocular integration. Binocular vision is disrupted when abnormal stimulation from a blurred retinal image results in impaired sensory fusion. Therefore, stereoacuity, which represents the highest grade of binocular vision, can be affected by glaucoma. And with that background, the aim of the study was to assess near and distant stereoacuity in patients with glaucoma and to analyze the correlation between stereoacuity and severity of glaucoma. This study was designed as a cross-sectional study. The sample size was calculated based on hypothesis testing to 160. The cases were enrolled from ophthalmology OPD of a tertiary care hospital for a duration of 18 months. And prior to the study, clearance was obtained from Institutional Ethics Committee. Written informed consent was taken from all patients, and the study adhered to the tenets of Declaration of Helsinki. All patients more than 18 years old of primary open angle and angle closure glaucoma as well as secondary glaucomas were enrolled. Those with BCVA of less than 6/12 in the better eye or a more than 2-line difference between the two eyes were excluded, as well as those patients with strabismus, retinal or corneal pathology or any history of ocular surgery for the same. After taking a detailed account of demographic variables and performing thorough ocular examination, standard automated perimetry testing was done on Humphrey's visual field with central 30-2 program, and severity grading of glaucoma was done based on both of the following criteria, based on mean deviation as well as visual field index, as is mentioned on the slide. For distance stereoacuity, subjects were made to view the test book at 3 meters distance in a normally illuminated room while wearing polarizing glasses. The smallest disparity at which the subject identified or matched both shapes correctly was recorded as stereoacuity. The test for near stereoacuity was also done in a similar manner at a distance of 40 centimeters. The statistical analysis was correlation of parameters was done by Pearson correlation analysis. Significance levels were tested by Kruskal-Wallis test, and the results were considered significant at p less than 0.05. Coming to the results, demographics of the sample were such that around 58% of the sample cases belonged to the 51 to 70 years age group, forming the majority, and the gender distribution was as shown in the chart. This chart shows the relative proportion of open angle glaucoma vis-a-vis angle closure glaucoma, and as we can see, open angle glaucoma were in a significant majority. Now, since stereoacuity is a measure of binocular function, whereas glaucoma severity grading is done based on parameters obtained on single field analysis on Humphreys, which is in turn a monocular function, therefore, the sample was divided into subgroups, as mentioned, to allow for a more meaningful analysis of stereoacuity trends with increasing grades of glaucoma. This division was done on the basis of both visual field index as well as mean deviation. The median and interquartile range were calculated and analyzed for each subgroup of the sample. This enabled us to analyze the stereoacuity trends with respect to grades of glaucoma as to account for the broad range of distribution and the outliers. The worsening stereoacuity for near as the severity of glaucoma increases was found to be statistically significant based on mean deviation. The same was found for distant stereoacuity, that is statistically significant worsening stereoacuity. Based on visual field index, the near stereoacuity showed a worsening trend. And same way, the distant stereoacuity also showed worsening trend when the subgroups were classified based on visual field index. Investigations into assessment of stereoacuity as a tool for making an early diagnosis of glaucoma dates back to 1990, when Liebergel et al. Reported that stigma stereoacuity was subnormal in 68% of glaucoma patients. Similar findings were reported shortly thereafter by Bassi and Galanis.
With all due to respect, I would request Dr. Chaitanya, please wind up within the next 30 seconds, please.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Sorry. So to conclude, Randorf stereoacuity for both near and distant showed statistically significant worsening with increasing severity of glaucoma based both on VFI and mean deviation. And this observation is consistent with the previous studies. This study furthers the purpose of establishing the utility of stereoacuity as a quick and relatively easy tool for early diagnosis of glaucoma. These are the merits and limitations of the study. And further large-scale studies of binocular functions are needed to understand visual dysfunction in glaucoma patients and may be helpful in uncovering early disease. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thanks, Chaitanya, for your wonderful presentation. It's already further study is needed.
Thank you, sir.